In terms of applying reflective practice, the reflective practitioner then will make a paradigm shift, a logical and conceptual shift in thinking about their teaching from a didactic model to a critical model of education, where higher order thinking and higher order learning are an everyday and usual part of work and learning in the classroom. And therefore we have to ask the question of ourselves, what are these changes that we need to make in order to realize this paradigm shift in thinking from lower order to higher order? First of all, the reflective practitioner needs to reconceive the curriculum. Curricula play a central and significant role for the teacher, and instruction arises from the goals and the objectives stated in curricula. But what the reflective practitioner needs to do is to look at these goals and look at these objectives and not consider them just in terms of subject matter, but to consider them in terms of how the students can engage with those ideas at conceptual and even abstract levels. And a starting point for this can be for the reflective practitioner to redesign their instruction in terms of delivering that curriculum. And we know teachers are very busy, and teachers feel then that there's no time to focus away from the subject to be subject content to be acquired in terms of thinking around the subject. And what we need to do as reflective practitioners is think differently about what we're doing in terms of instruction and instruction in terms of delivering the curriculum. And we mustn't neglect the content of the curriculum. It's purely thinking about how we're helping the students engage with that content. And what this means is that we, as reflective practitioners, are moving away from those didactic methods, lecture methods and drill methods, and recall of content by the students of the subject matter in the curriculum, and using approaches, engaging students in strategies for their learning, which are engaging them in processing of that content, and most importantly, deep processing of that content, so that they can learn at a much deeper, higher order level of thinking. And for the reflective practitioner, this is a paradigm shift which is evolutionary rather than revolutionary. It's something which will occur over time as they develop their practice. And the reflective practitioner has the opportunity, therefore, to place an emphasis on this type of thinking, place an emphasis on formulation of thinking, formulation of philosophy, formulation of ideas, and highlighting the essential role for the student that thinking plays in their learning, in the acquisition of knowledge. And the reflective practitioner is always contrasting for the students, with the students, the differences between their lower order learning and the higher order learning that they're engaging with. So how does the reflective practitioner achieve this process? And how does this translate into an approach for the reflective practitioner? Well, higher order learning multiplies for the students their comprehension and their insight of the content. And this is an important thing for us to remember. Whereas lower order learning, in contrast, learning which is focused on rote memorization and performance of particular skills which are predetermined, actually multiply students' misunderstandings and even prejudices about what constitutes knowledge. And what the reflective practitioner needs to do is to help students understand that higher order learning provides an opportunity for the students to feel more empowered and in control, more autonomous of the learning and of themselves as learners. And what this does is to stimulate students in terms of the subjects which they're learning. And in contrast to this, we can see that lower order learning has potential for discouraging students and also limits the students' potential for acquiring deeper and more substantial skills and knowledge. And so for the reflective practitioner, we can think about how these come together in what might be called good teaching. Good teaching for the reflective practitioner focuses on high content and on ideas and issues and content and ideas and issues which are taught in ways which actively engage students, not only in the processes of learning, but engage students in thinking and in reflecting on their thinking, rather than just engaging in memorizing the content of curricula.